Alright, just taking care of some links and stuff. And I think we're... I think we should be... You didn't hear that? Increase the size of this a bit so I can at least see. Make sure that the camera's catching it right. I will probably have to zoom in here. Yeah, wet palette should be good. Bloop, 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 bloop. Mostly warm. Let me quickly... If there is an issue with the sound, please let me know. As I just set up a brand new USB audio interface. So we'll see if I'm breaking. And I just... What on earth was that? That better not have been my mic.
Hey!
Shut the fuck up, phone. What? We're skipping the next one. God damn. Yeah, I know. Mini painting stream is now. Okay. Needs just a little bit more honey. I am so excited to paint this mini today. Been waiting to do this one for a while. Ooh. Lovely. I'm gonna have to stir this a little bit more as I empty it because I put too much water in. Okay, Chip. Alright. Get that mouse out of here. If the ambient music is too loud, also let me know. Alright. So for once I'm actually not using my magnifying glass. Let's zoom this in just a little bit. Because now I have that ability. Mwahaha! Pull you up just a bit more because I don't have my head nearly as close as I'm used to. So, we're going to get started here with a base coat, the lower portion here, which is going to be mostly wood. Hey, Mom! I am finally able to paint today. I hope you can hear me. I did have to I ended up replacing my USB audio interface, so if it's a little bit quiet, I can boost the gain because I had to reset some settings. Or if I'm too loud, also, that's useful to know. Awesome. I like it when it's as easy as unplug the old one and plug the new one in. The less problems, the better. So right now, just going through the base coat that I normally give my wood colors. So I'm actually going with a very specific theme for this. Because this is going to be played in... Oh, yeah, that's a... it's a campfire audio ambient from ambientmixer.com. So I thought it was appropriate for, doing a covered wagon. But yeah, so the idea I have in mind for this cart is I'm gonna put some gilding on it, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty. It's going to be browns and greens. And the reason I'm doing that is to kind of keep it in theme with my world. Yeah, and I haven't either. I like the sound of that. Fire away at that dragon. Oh, okay. The Discord notification was just me 6. Ooh, you have tomorrow off. Nice. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm doing browns and greens because using this for my world, I'm kind of keeping to the idea that they want the cart to be kind of better camouflaged. So I'm going to be doing kind of like a green roof, not quite leaf green, but a green roof, and kind of brown on the sides, almost to simulate like a tree. I'll be stopping by your house at some point. All right, sounds good. I was going to say, me and Bailey might be having another editing party at some point. At sometime next week. I think we were just going to play it by ear. So we'll see. It's a dumb dragon who needs to die because now I'm going to have to run back to my house to grab more arrows. Oh, you forgot your charger under the D&D table. I think... Which actually reminds me, I think I forgot the charger to my laptop at your house. I've been able to charge it with my phone charger, but it's slow. So if there's any chance you're coming over, or if me and Bailey are choosing to have our edit party tomorrow, I can just bring it over. It's a dumb dragon who needs to die because now I'm going to have to run back to my house and grab some more arrows. Well, best of luck with that, Rose. Hello, dear.
Hello.
How are you? That charger under the table is USB-C on both ends, so it should be fast so it's not the fast charge that I need. It's the fact that it doesn't have the power behind it. Because mine has, like, the big brick in the middle. And it looks like... Boop. God damn it.
I haven't booped you in a hot minute.
Honey is paying rapt attention to you talking. Well, I hope Honey is being a good girl. I hope all of you are enjoying the new camera angle. I might need to lower it, actually. Or maybe bring it a bit this way, because I'm a little bit further back than I normally am, because I'm not glued to this thing. Just getting a solid base color on here. Okay. Today I have to remember to put the paintbrush in my water and not in my tea. Oh, wow. And yes, this is a chip cup. I don't want to paint. I don't think you can call yourself an artist until you have fucked up with a paintbrush. I have. I most certainly have. I'm going to have so much fun when I get my paints and stuff and just show up at my house. That'll be a very interesting time. As long as it's not Sundays when I'm going to be planting my ass right here and painting. I already did one impromptu D&D session. Well, then you're going to be SOL. Because my painting desk is going to be occupado. You're just going to bring a fold... It's not going to be easy. Especially if my office is still a fucking mess. Since when do I choose the easy way of doing anything? I believe the answer is never. These windows are going to be a pain, but most of this is wood, so I need to paint this the wood color, and then I'll go back and paint the windows the base color I want them. But at least I'll be consistent. Besides, breaking into Randall's house Friday night, I was the only one that wanted to do it the easy way. I am aware of that because it took entirely too long for you guys to make a fucking decision. I was trying to have Karen push you guys along by saying just bust down the front door. Keep going off camera. The underside of this I'm less worried about. Especially because there's a big ol'... It's hard to see from there, but actually I can do something too. There's text underneath. I don't like it when they do this. Especially... Now I know how I keep getting brown on my shirts.
Dear, it turned out so good.
Oh, that's nice.
And it opens up.
I think they can just see that on camera from there. Katie made a Monopoly board game for a Disney Monopoly board game.
It was my very first Monopoly board game. There we go.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
It's been in this really shitty box. And so, I bought a box. And the whole thing is covered in glitter. But it's got the Disney
No, wood filler is too intense. Um, most of the time,
Text? Oh.
yeah, there's text on the bottom. Sometimes I'll paint over it, but if it's on a nice exposed surface, I'll actually just take my knife here, and I'll just actually scrape it off. In this case, because it's in a really shitty position, I'm just going to paint over it. Because I don't care too much. Most of the time, this isn't going to be flipped upside down. I mean, it might rest like this in some cases, because I don't know what you guys plan to do with this thing. Take it over a freaking cliff or something. But it's an unfortunate side effect. I could, if I wanted to spend the time, I could put green stuff on there. Well, see, here's the problem: is that it's a raised surface, so it's filling in the rest of the area. So that's what my problem is. It's not that it's indented; it's extruding out of it. Yeah, it's raised up, and I do not like it when model makers do that. Reaper does it on a lot of their minis, but a lot of those areas you just end up cutting off. No, it is not indented, so... Okay, I need to go over some of this with a few more layers. This part is just kind of tedious, because I'm trying to get a consistent color throughout all this. Oh, she started Karen and Dorian. That's awesome. Don't worry, we'll have to explore what Dorian's up to on a later date. I'm gonna need to ask Bailey more about Dorian and what Dorian's backstory is. But as I was telling Erica, I think it was last night, I don't remember. It might have been the night before. I feel like I set up Karen to be an adventure for you. Although, technically, we might not be done with Karen's story. God, it's going to be weird playing Karen again. Well, you have some time. Because it might not be for a while. Ah. I've been wanting to paint this for so long. Well, mostly since I got it. But I haven't had the time to justify it. Because all the painting sessions I've had so far have been like, you get like 5 minutes here and there to actually sit down and paint. Not actually. not actually like a whole 3 hours for me to sit down and... Alrighty. Well, I hope everyone is having a wonderful Sunday and that they are getting ready for the new week. I'm almost starting to think I might need to move that to the other side, but I might then need to move this monitor. Because I realize I'm right-handed, so a lot of my stuff I angle that way. So one of these days I'll have to adjust that. But for today, we're going to have to just suffer. We went with your sister to Traverse City, then visited with her and Ben at their place. Oh, nice! Must have been pleasant. Weird. I thought I accidentally got another paint mixed in, but nope, false alarm. Ooh, that is a clump of paint I do not want sitting like that. Okay, I may have just gotten a little bit of water on that. She got a 3D pen from Ben for Christmas. Oh, cool! Those are, like, really weird, but they're cool. Okay. And we're gonna get this front portion. I've seen some YouTubers play around with it. But I haven't played with one myself. Gotta be very careful because these wagon wheels feel like if I stress them too much, they're going to just snap off. Ooh, and Ben has another new 3D printer. Jeez. Sorry, Katie just tweeted something at me that literally today I told her about. Oh, that's cool. I made that a little bit too liquidy. That's alright. Just put more layers on it. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that's alright. It's getting in here. Where the feet of the driver go. The challenging part is getting there. Whew, it's gonna be a doozy trying to dry brush in there. Right. Wait, you didn't... Oh, right. Last night I was reading up... I was finishing a section in Dune. I got through book 2 of 3, because the inside of it is like, hey, this is book 1, this is book 2. In my opinion, it's just part 1, part 2, part 3. And... Hey, Gabrielle! And after I finished that part, I was kind of tempted to keep reading. And I ended up reading a little bit of the afterword. And it turns out that Frank Herbert, he was having issues publishing Dune, because it was 214,000 words, and most publishers didn't want to publish it because of the size and the printing costs. And finally he ended up getting published by a company that made car manuals. Even one of the publishers said something along the lines of, "I feel like I'm going to regret this," but he had to deny. He had to turn down the book. Which I thought was super hilarious. And then, so what it was that Katie then tweeted that I told her about it, but I had forgotten like what kind of publisher it was. I think I said it was like a tractor manufacturer or something. People who made manuals for tractors or something. And apparently somebody tweeted that Frank Herbert's book got rejected 20 times and was finally published by a car manufacturer. So, an interesting tidbit of information that I didn't expect would come up at all. Yeah. Painting this here wagon. I mean, it could be. Currently, it is not. At least I hope not. And also, welcome, Devin. Oh. Frickin' wagon mimic. Oh, come on. This is gonna be a pain. I may need to get a smaller brush out for this. I'm glad you could stop by, Devin. Also, Ben makes these cool coasters. Looks like the top of a castle turret. Even glow-in-the-dark ones. Oh, that's kind of cool. No, I didn't see your post about that. I'll have to go dig it up. Oh yeah, even better. Post it here. let me just click on that. Oh, that's horrifying. That's horrifying, but amazing. Oh. Chip, you are gonna fuck me up tonight. Oh. I'm gonna have to do that now. I agree, but to make it a convincing mimic, I can't make it look like one. I'll have to get a second one and green stuff model like the back or something to make the door look like a mouth, and then like eyes in the windows and stuff. I mean, the stuff that this pack came with is actually pretty useful. I don't think you guys can see that, but I'll put it here. So this is actually like, oh god, this is terrible. Here, I can just, nope, that's zooming in. But yeah, like this is what actually came in it. So there's the bag of holding that I actually ended up painting. Some books, came with a few carts. Like, all of this stuff is useful, and I could use multiples of. So I might have to buy another one, just for the mimic. Yeah. I found it while I was at a catacon. Nope, that's not zooming in. There we go. So I found it while I was at a catacon, and I had been staring at it for a few days, and finally I'm just like, screw it. I'm buying it. That seems to be my method of buying something, is if I look at it long enough and I keep wanting it, I'll eventually buy it. Just like my new copy of Dune. Oh. Some holes there. Yeah. I've never bought a book a second time because I like... Okay, dice. Yeah, dice is definitely one of those keep staring at till you buy. Or sometimes buy immediately. Yeah, like... I was just so in love with the book cover, and with this... Ooh, almost missed it. Okay, I think these are actually going to be metal, which means those are going to be metal. Funny, I meant to write nice, but wrote dice instead. Ooh, some questions. Oh, did some... Oh, thanks, Mom. It's actually... It is Katie's. Oh. I can turn down the gain. Because that was, Yikes. Yeah, this is, No need, just amazing. Yeah, so this is an upgraded version of the other mic that I own. So before I had to take a mic and keep. I can get you a link at some point here. Because I don't want to say which microphone it is and be completely wrong. But the microphone. So I had one microphone that I was swapping between my desk, my painting desk, and my computer desk. So because I stream from both. And so I was tired of switching between the two. And the new piece of hardware I actually got today was hooked up to do both. But this is the brand new microphone I put at my painting desk because I use it. I want to use it a bit more than the other one. And this is a newer version of the original mic I have. I haven't gotten rid of it. You do sound much clearer and consistent. Yes, it does. What kind of camera do you use for painting? The focus. So this is actually actually, you can see it on there. So I actually use a Panasonic, it's an actual, camcorder camera. And I have it output HDMI, and then I capture that. So I've actually preloaded a bunch of settings that I couldn't control with the old camera, which what used to be my what used to be my mini camera is now in the D&D room, and you can tell which one it is if you look at them, because that one's covered in paint. But I like this one because I can adjust temperature settings, control the lighting portion a bit better, and I can zoom this one in and out, so it doesn't have to be, so close that I can paint this. If I actually manage to paint this, it is... I have really outdone myself. Which means it'll happen eventually. Okay. So I think those are metal, because that is usually what... maybe someday we'll be able to watch Gabby stream with her 3D pen. That would be up to her to be able to... I can help her get software and stuff set up, but... Don't challenge yourself. You know you're going to paint it. I know. It's an inevitability. Yeah, the biggest thing... I'm trying to... Wow. I had a thought and it died in my head. It all depends on the computer that you're running it on. Because I know, we just found out our D&D machine has not enough power to do everything we want for remote players. Which is unfortunate, because that's kind of important. So the machine really does make the stream. It does have a ton of details. That is one thing I have enjoyed about WizKids Minis, even if I'm not a huge fan of them as a business. Just from some things that they have, some of their customer support from a few friends of mine. One that runs a game store. Heard not so great things about them. So originally for the longest time, I was just avoiding buying any of their stuff. But they do make a decent product. It's just in my opinion, you just better hope it's, intact. But it's not something I'm worried about too much. Yeah, the challenge for the basing of this right now is all the little nooks and crannies, especially on these wheels. These wheels are going to be a pain. But, patience, and it'll get done eventually. Well, some of it was like, so the issue that came up was that they got, and I'm not as worried about the unpainted stuff now, because the unpainted stuff, pretty much they have a clear view in to see what you're buying. But WizKids also has this this product that you can buy a mini, or you can buy 4 minis that you don't know what they are. They're like booster packs of minis. And so if there's any factory... God damn it. If there's any factory defects, you basically have to contact them, but you can't see it before you buy it. And more or less, they blocked the guy from Facebook, blocked him from... Yeah, just pretty much blocked him entirely, and then when the game store reached out to say, hey, one of our customers had a bad experience, they basically didn't respond. At all. So, for the longest time, he actually wasn't even stocking their minis. And I was kind of pissed off by the approach they took as well, because they were some of my friends, and I just wasn't buying their stuff. But I saw this, and this is one of those things that I was like, damn it. I almost can't live without buying this. Oh, jeez. Missed a spot on the front. And a little bit at the same time is that my own personal wallet isn't going to affect them that much. Me not buying them, they're still backed by Wizards of the Coast entirely. And it doesn't really do me much good. Yeah, because not everyone has that experience. What will pull the Caravan? So there's actually, I have 2 horse minis here that eventually I will get to painting. But I need to get some reference photos and figure out which horses, what style I want to put them in, and how I want to do their bases, because haven't quite figured that out yet. Because they came with these really, in my opinion, crappy round bases, which they're perfect for on. So here, this is a 1-inch grid, which is normally how big an adventurer's base is supposed to be. Very funny, Devin. So this is meant perfectly for a 2x2, which is how big a large creature is, and they consider horses large. So that's perfect for this. But I don't really use a grid anymore for that kind of stuff. So I've actually been debating using this and being able to put a few extra things on the base as well, which I actually just bought, and you can actually kind of see in this camera, but there's some pink stuff behind me, right here. That is XPS foam. I actually, not big enough for 2 horses next to each other, though. Well, these would work fine, but I'm really starting to think that the way that this wagon is set up, it's only meant for one horse. Which makes some sense, but at the same time, it could be either side. If I wanted them side by side, I'd need to go with these a bit more, because these bases are just a bit wider. Oh, wow, that's really... But yeah. I haven't made my mind up about that. I'll kind of figure that out as I get around to it. For the time being, I can use the Caravan and just be like, oh yeah, there's a horse at the front of it. But there's been numerous times that there's been a Caravan or a wagon, and I have to like make it out of pieces of paper, and just like I just want a mini of it. And so far, since I bought this, no wagons have been used. But that's fine. It'll come up eventually. Ooh, wow, I missed that entire spot. Basing the mini. It's the point in time in which you figure out which areas you have not seen. Ooh, that did not sound good. I need to be very careful about that. Okay. I'm going to need to get a smaller brush to get in there. That's annoying. Ooh, but I might be able to get these with this brush. Almost. This brush is just too wide for this area, because there's this wood beam here. And if I'm painting it this color, which means on the underside I also want to paint that. But because the wheels stick out too far, it's hard for me to get my paintbrush in that space. So you can just barely see. Normally this would be a lot easier to see if I pulled this down, but I kind of need that out of the way of my skull. So it's just a little bit darker today, but as I get more and more details, I will be pulling that back down using the magnifying glass. I find basing to be somewhat boring, but at the same time, I'm not having to keep too steady of a hand. So that was weird. What's with all the Jakes? Trying to say something? Oh, jeez. Didn't get in between all these spokes. I got the top ones. Those aren't the important ones. Just felt like jaking around. For two horses, there would be a single pull down the middle. Oh, that is good to know. Oh no, it's Andrew. Oh! Oh, I apologize if cracking makes some people cringe. Ooh. For one horse, there's a pull on either side of the horse, so that's a one-horse wagon. Oh, that's good to know, because that's, that makes it so I don't have to really accommodate for those. Probably, I think I'm going to stick to their wider round base, but I'm definitely going to be using some foam to do some stuff with the base. Because I really don't... Because the one thing I really don't like about these is how much thinner it is in comparison. So, I'm just going to have to do a little bit of extra work for that. But that's okay. Does your audience know we used to have a horse named Jake? I don't think so. It might have come up. Actually, I think it came up on one of our, it might have come up on one of our YouTube videos. Yeah, so our family used to have a horse named Jake, and that was when I was off at college. And my mom called me up and said, hey, so we were thinking about renaming this horse. I'm like, why? What's the horse's name? Oh, it's Jake. We just didn't want it to be confusing for when you're around. And I'm like, no, Jake's a wonderful name. Keep it. So, for a while, my family had a horse named Jake. So I'm suddenly reminded of the part in Indiana Jones where his dad says the dog was named Indy. His friend's like, you're named after the dog. Wow, that's funny. Luckily, I came first. Before I get to work on the other wheels, I'm gonna clean up a few spots, because there's a few corners that I missed. He was saved from the dog food factory. Oh, that's... kind of forgot about that. Okay. Get that painted up in there because... the unfortunate thing I don't... So I don't mind a white base coat. And technically, all of their minis are pre-based. Or pre-primed. I normally don't prefer a white primer, but that's because a lot of the minis I paint are dark. And it makes it so I can actually... So the shadows are much easier for me to work with. So if this is tipped over, and inside there's some white, and all I'm doing with the base color, so I'm going in there and just trying to fill in the white, because that is noticeable against the brown. And for a shadowy... Oh, that's fine. And for a shadowy area, I want it to be darker. I don't want, if this card is sitting over, I don't want anyone to see white in there. So I try to be very picky about coverage. Even places that people are like, oh, no one will see it there. Until the one time that they do, and they're like, oh, you didn't paint there. Oh, I'm still kind of doing details. Wow. I just missed this entire section. Luckily, some of this will also be filled in when I do the wash. Thank you. It helps. It helps make them look more realistic, because while some people would say, "Oh, well, the details of the mini should make it look realistic," the problem is that doesn't work. And really, it's kind of exaggerating everything. So you exaggerate the shadows, you exaggerate some colors, some features. At least that is how I've done it. The negative space is as important as the positive. Learn that in art class. Yeah. Something I was probably taught in art class, but can't say I remembered it. Until I, actually found a medium of artwork that I enjoyed and ended up practicing enough to get good at. Alright, I was going to mix this up a little bit more. Whew. There we go. I don't even know. Wow. It's almost been an hour and I've only been painting in one color. My light... That is because... Well, it is a ring light. Now, you can kind of barely see it, but there's actually something... This light's been weakening, so it's been difficult for me to adjust it properly. Trust me, Mom, I am no angel. There is an area on this that I completely missed for the brown, and it's not just the wheels. It's up here on the roof. I gotta do that. I'm glad you can agree, Mom. might need to replace my parchment paper here soon, though. Starting to fill it up with the same color. Yeah, so I think at some point I'm going to move this camera to be to my right and find a way to move this monitor to a different location. That way, everyone can more easily see where I'm painting, instead of it being masked by my left hand and the mini from where I'm holding it. So it was mostly there for space. Yeah, I might have to tweak some things around with the entire setup. But hey, reorganizing is sometimes fun. But a chance to let me better improve the space. One more wheel and another section. Okay, that's actually part of the mini. But I keep lifting this back up because I'm trying to get my head in there and it's just no bueno. Ooh, there's a big old gap in there. There we go. Okay. I think I'm going to wait to paint that wheel so I have a space to put my thumb. I still have a few spaces. I want to get the wheel out of the way because these are challenging. So, let's get up in here. Yeah, gonna need to reorient my camera for sure. I've been meaning to get a wall mount for my microphone, so I could instead hang it above me, because it being attached to my desk, one, I smack it all the time with my brush, and on top of that, it takes up space on my desk and interferes with the other mic stand. So, oh, your mic broke, or the wall mount thing, or the mount for it? Ah, the mic mount. Well, I'm happy that we've set up our D&D room the way we did, because now I know how to mount a microphone to the ceiling and it not be, oh, you had it over your tablet just perfect and bam, broke. Ah, oh, that's unfortunate. I think the approach I'm going to be taking is what we did with the D&D room, which is there's a disc that you can get that has threads on it, and then I bought a separate boom arm that's actually really rigid. And I'm going to be using that to... I have to turn the microphone upside down for that to work, but that shouldn't cause a problem. Because I think actually quite a few places have their studio mics that way to allow for stuff beneath it. At least from like footage that I've seen of like behind the scenes and of games and animated movies. So, there's a few YouTubers I'm subscribed to. The only reason I'm subscribed to them is a slight desire to get into, like, other forms of art. Like, one thing I'd really like to do is to start getting into environment artwork. But, every time I start looking at it and I watch stuff on it, I realize, right, I just haven't made the time for it. Because I barely make the time for this. Who knows? One day I'll probably have... No, who am I kidding? I'm not going to ever have more free time. It'll just get filled with something else. Okay. I think those wheels are as good as I need them to be right now. Making a whole game board that's just paths and buildings weaving through a forest. I do need to work on making trees. Hey, I hope the painting's going well. It is. So far, it's just been the base coat. But this base coat has been stream that instead of painting. Whew. It's a lot. Still requires a different set of skills than I have. I am working on making... I do plan on working on getting to make terrain more often, because I have words, and I don't know how to use them, apparently. Alright. And that's going to require another small brush. But that's okay for now. We're just going to do this. So, I have a fairly consistent technique for doing wood. Ah, goddamn. Arm itched. That. Personally, I enjoy the look of the wood that I do. So I'm actually going to do that before I start work on the next base coat. Because then I can kind of work around it. It sucks if I screw up, because then I kind of have to redo the whole process. Hey, thank you for the following Nevermore Nexus. And now I'm reminded that I have not finished reading my Edgar Allan Poe book. Okay, so take a quick look. Right, so I need a smaller base brush. Oh, he is! Awesome! I didn't recognize the name. Of course, it would probably help if I spent more, time on there. But let's get... Ooh. Just went cross-eyed there for a second. Awesome, welcome. He's been quiet for the past weeks as he's traveling. Oh, all right. It's understandable. You also have a lot of people on your Discord, Devin. Just saying. It's wonderful. Smacking the mic. And amazingly so well behaved for... Yes! I think that's one of the things that impresses me the most about your Discord. Ooh. Oh, excuse me. I just had a friend tweet at me for this picture saying a traveling alchemist lab, perhaps? And she's referring to an old character of mine who I actually have his mini. Hold on. This will be quick. I'd like to believe that either I just attract people who know how to behave, or that I strike fear into the hearts of all those that would dare to cause drama. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so... Oh, that might not be dry. So here, I'll bring the light down so it's easier. So this is my Venaran alchemist, Lavernicus Tiberius Zacharyson. And the joke was, so when I played him, I actually I bought myself a cart and a horse so I could have a moving alchemy lab. So that's actually pretty fitting that she brought that up. I completely forgot about that until today. I'll have to post a picture with those two when this is closer to done for her. But I unfortunately had to stop playing that game because of time, which was unfortunate, as I really did enjoy playing him. There were some priceless moments. All right. So I think I swear I'm actually holding these brushes. It's hard to believe. There's just I want to do another layer on this top piece, just to get the color a bit more consistent. And catch a few of the recessed areas that I missed. I think I'm going to have to look at some images of other wagons, if they have windows, to see kind of what color at least the artwork makes them out to be. Because it's really difficult if I don't actually have a scene that it's in. Oh, there's the keyboard. So, fantasy wagon. I'm just pulling up some reference images for myself. So this one kind of just does... Unfortunately, I can't do transparent, really. Nope. Ooh, I do have a good idea, though. I think. So, I think what I'll end up doing is... and I'm gonna have to be really gentle about it. Is I'm gonna try to make it look like there's a glow from the inside. I can't find part 1 of the D&D stream you guys did recently. You can only find part 2. Some of the things may be private. I need to go in and make a bunch of those things public, because that's just where they were. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next stages of... I'm just going to get a separate paper towel for this. I think after this I'll work on just getting all of those public, because again, they need to be. Okay, so now I'm on to dry brushing. And I think I need my large dry brush. Yeah, there we go. So, I'm going to be using Gorthor Brown, because it's a lighter variation on this. God damn it. Come on. There we go. Alright. You'll see the reason why I wanted to do this before I start doing everything else. Because this is quite messy. Work that into the brush. This is kind of a slow build-up, but what this is doing is that this is catching all the raised edges, which in some areas, here I'll see if I can get this to show up on camera more. So as I'm doing this, so you can sort of see how this area is now lighter than this because I used this, but in the deeper areas, it actually kind of shows up best up here. But the funny thing is that I'm going to paint all those raised things gold, because I think that just looks snazzy. Yeah, last session was, whoo, it was a bit of a doozy. Yeah, there's a lot of details in here that I'm going to be doing gold, but... So the reason I'm doing this first is that then after this I'm going to do a wash over all of the brown. And actually, no, I think I'm going to wait to do the wash over the brown, because I'm going to also do that on the roof part. That dumpster fire is still going on? That's insane. It's some drama that's happening on social media. And not fun drama. Of course, realistically, I don't think most drama is fun. Oh, no. Let me rephrase that. Realistic drama isn't fun. See, Rue, I think you just responded in the same way you do with most people, so I don't think it's going off. So I think you're in the right, but you don't need me to tell you that. Yeah. All right. So this is... Oh. I guess the wood grain does go the same direction across it. Well, that makes this fun and easy. Oh my god. You're the one with the keyboard. You're the one with the keyboard, Mom. Yeah, if the person had actually followed me for years like they claim, they would have known that nothing I said was out of spite or whatever. Yeah. I decided to stay my tongue and point out some obvious flaws in their logic, because I didn't want to add to the dumpster fire. Okay, so that is working. Yeah, these little window areas. I think those are going to be the death of me. But I think I'm going to end up going for the Caravan at night. Going for a theme like a Caravan at night. The only reason I say that is because for my world it is more likely you're going to get assaulted in the middle of the night. So I'm just painting it to what I suspect I'm going to be using it more for. Try to get a bit more of these wood beams. Eventually, Rue, yes, I will have to paint it in the exact same way and up my sculpting game. Okay, so already, I hope the lighting on this is good enough that you guys can see with just 2 paints how much of a difference I was able to make. So there it is with the dry brushing of the Gorthor Brown, and that's without. Trying to get the angles right so the light isn't... It also kind of gave this matte finish to it, whereas this feels a little glossy. But yeah. I love just what dry brushing can suddenly change a piece. And I realize I'm actually explaining that, probably not for anyone's benefit, but really because I just get so excited about it. It's like, look at this! This is fun! Hey, Bunny! Welcome! I'm gonna get that out of the way. How are you doing this evening? Okay. Vistani Caravan? This is a wagon. But I am working on this because I wanted one for us to use in Tales from the Tavern. Because every wagon that I've used up till now has been, hey, here's a note card. And I'm tired of using it. Oh, that might have been a little bit too intense. Yeah. So, instead, I'll be using this. Well, I hope you're having a great Sunday. I was trying to be more productive today, but I really ended up not being all that productive. And it's got air. Maybe? I'm not sure. This looks like they might be able to have a fire in it. Dry brushing the bottom here. I was trying to be more productive too, but things... Yeah. I can understand. You managed to be half-ass productive today. Oh, you started writing a book today, Andrew. Awesome. Well, you've got the right group to help. And by that I mean reading and editing and stuff. I'm not talking about, improving your writing skills. You made it about 8K words in sitting at work. Nice. Damn, you and Bailey freaking doing better than me on a daily basis for word counts. Oh, I had some leftover pho from when me and Katie went to the Louisiana and Vietnamese place. And I will admit, it is not better the second day. Realize so Bunny, the variation of 4 that you have, if you read the one that you corrected, Udon 4. At least I think that's how it's spelled. I could be wrong. I'm a writer, not a speller. Still waking up. That's fair. Woo! I'm right every now and then. Unless I'm DMing, then I'm always right. At least in the moment. After the session, maybe not so much. All right. I've got most of that dry brushed. You see a multi-tier ship for $150. Oh, is that like a D&D ship? If so, I seriously need you to send me a link for that. I need to see it. That is another thing on my list of. Oh yes, please send me a link to that. That is another thing I've been working to try to find for my D&D mini collection. Maddie Mork's channel has it. Awesome. Damn. Okay, I might actually need to switch to a smaller dry brush for this part. Ooh. Ooh, I might need to rethink this dry brush. Yeah. That one's gone to shit. Fuck. Oh, that's right, but I've been using this one for a dry brush. Because this is a dyeing version of another brush. That's been dyeing for a while. There we go. Less of me beating plastic. Nope, nope, not dry enough. Come on. Yeah, if there's anything about the camera angle that is feeling off to you guys, or if audio's all messed up, please inform me. Oh my god, this is a pain. Trying to dry brush this seat, but the angle is wrong. Did you like that one that I showed you the other day, Jake? The camera angle? I thought it was interesting. I am not sure how well that would work for me. Because the so for everyone who I don't think you guys are in me and Andrew's private chat, the guy actually had the camera like sitting right here in front of him, so you could see sort of the same direction that he was in. The only reason I don't think that would work for me is I'd have to downgrade the camera again to the webcam or get a smaller camera. Also, I think just for the way that I sit and paint, that would not be comfortable for me. It's cool, though. If I was a different person. That is creative. I didn't quite see what he was using to mount it in front of him, but it's... It's the most clever use of a harmonica holder I've ever seen. Oh, now that's cool. Okay. Sometimes in dry brushing it reveals extra details I didn't think about. So like here, these two planks actually stick out more than the rest. You may or may not have picked up the 5e content from Humble Bundle. Ah, so it was still going on. That's good. There were quite a few good ones on there that I had seen before. All right. Don't break these, Jake. Oop. Right. The rooftop is rounded, Jake. It can't sit flat. I'll be very careful and not actually snap these off, because I found that one of the tools that I have that I would use to fix this more or less is rendered useless. And it's a pin vise. Apparently I was tightening the bits too hard in it, and it actually warped the piece that grips it. There's one I like that comes with a bunch of pre-built NPCs that includes stuff for the NPC at higher level. So each NPC has 6 sheets, one... Oh, those are actually pretty convenient levels. That is cool, though. I would get more use out of it if I actually statted some of my NPCs. Alrighty. And I do realize there's a space that isn't painted. Because of course I'm at this stage and realized I missed a spot. It gives them class features, then features unique to each guild that they're a part of. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my DMing style just doesn't work too well when I put too many stats on things. But that's just me. I know you work much better if you have that stuff. I sit there and it just overwhelms me, and then I feel like I'm not giving a better experience. Oh boy. Alright, so some quick cleanup. Oop. Because I missed a spot. Technically 2 spots. But that's neither here nor there. And they are definitely areas I am not going to be able to hit with the dry brush very easily. Touch-up complete. Wow, this thing is wet. Okay. Got a few more areas that I need to do. Let's flip this over. Being very gentle. If I fuck this up, I will break a wheel. And honestly, that is most likely the location that this mini will have failures in the future. Don't worry about that. Nothing happened. I always feel like dry brushing makes me almost feel bad because, like, I'm smearing all of this paint, but it's something I gotta live with. Oh boy. Back is feeling it already. Okay. Also tonight, I think I'm going to finally finish up the history of this continent I've been working on. Because I've got 2,000 more years of history I haven't finished. Okay. Now on to the top part. And that is going to be what I do for my writing tonight. So what is everyone doing tonight? I know Bunny was just waking up. Andrew, you were making food? Oh, excuse me. That was terrible. baked chicken and fries. Ooh, that does sound good. Alright. Cooking the largest chicken breasts I've ever seen in my life. Were they fake chicken breasts? Too much silicone. Oh god, that's terrible. They're £1.50 each? Jeez. Hey, Katie, where is my paint cleaner? My paint soap? Actually, I'm not sure if she's watching or not. I think she heard. I gotta clean this brush because it needs it.
All my brushes are nice and clean.
That's good. I hate that I'm using...
If you get anything on my chip cup, you owe me a trip to Disney.
Yeah, now you're just hoping I'm gonna get shit on Chip.
Yeah.
That's not a threat, dear. That's you asking me to do it.
I just want to spend a week at Epcot.
I could spend a week drinking around the world.
Yeah, see? We can both spend a week at Epcot.
Yeah, we can, but I don't think we can afford to.
No.
I don't have your mother's skills of...
I know. She's magical. I don't know how she does it. I need to learn.
The magic of Disney, that's how.
She believes.
Okay. So I think I'm good with that. We are going to switch over to green. I don't know what green to use. I feel like I don't have the right... green for this. That's a really... Oh, I forgot how liquidy that one was. I might need to get another one of those. Okay. There's this one. That also sounds really liquidy. That's kind of concerning. I think I'll use both of these. Alright, so... all those bolts are going to be really annoying, but that's okay. I'm now debating how to actually do this. Hold on. We're not going to worry about it too much. I'll get around to how I handle that. I think these raised edges on the roof... Oh, I'm going to regret saying this to myself, but I'm going to have to do that I'm going to have to paint those by hand. Or paint those... God, of course I'm painting them by hand. I'm going to have to paint those without dry brushing it. But I'm going to do the base color of this Death World Forest, which is incredibly liquidy, so it's going to take me several coats to get this correct. but I believe this is the color I want. The reason this paint in particular is so thin is because I actually thinned out the entire pot to run it through an airbrush. As I stick my finger in it. All it'll mean is that I need to do more layers. And I'm not really putting it on my wet palette, because it is already thin enough. Just being careful not to get it on the wood I've already painted. The unfortunate thing about this being this way is that it will take many, many coats. Hello, Happy Fun Time Live! How are you doing? Because I am doing quite well. I have been yearning to paint for some time, and the holidays were just kind of taking over. That is good to hear. So yeah, today I am working on this wagon. Oh! Yeah, no problem. It was interesting to watch. Hey, thank you for the follow. You have a ton of things you need painted if you ever run... You and me both. I have a ton of stuff. And it doesn't help that last year for Christmas, my girlfriend backed the Bones 4 Kickstarter for me when I was during a few months of unemployment. Oh god, yes. I have unpainted minis from when I used to play Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah. I've got so much. I counted them a while back. I can't remember. It was somewhere in like the 150 minis. And then I bought more. Because of course I did. It's like books. I keep buying more. Years worth of unpainteds. You look like someone that would play... I'm not sure how to take that. Oh, hey, thank you for hosting us. Right. Yeah, so we're some Dark Souls fans over here, or at least I am. Um, I know Bailey has had numerous times where she has cursed me because I have not changed the audio of that. Because that is the sound of... Is there a 12-step program for buying minis addiction? No, Mom, it's usually much more, and it involves painting minis. There we go. So I can just kind of paint the edge here by using the edge of the brush, because it's raised higher. Might be a little hard to see. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Yeah. Jeez. What? Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Got a little bit of green here, but I should be able to clean that up. All right. Most of that looks fairly dry, and I almost painted Chip. Chip, I'm gonna have to finish you off. If only you have if you have a storage problem. One could say that. Mostly, I just have to finish organizing, because I have a curio cabinet that is not full yet. Hey! Thank you for the bit donation. I really appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. Ooh. Second layer is covering up most of the bottom. Oh, that's what... My finger must have got caught in that, and that's why there's a little bit of green right there. Ah. There we go. Just needed to clean that off a little bit. What else do I usually stream? So Nerdolopedia is a group of us. So there's a few of us that stream different things. It's been a little bit light lately, but we stream gaming. I think it's transmittable disease because I have so many minis to paint. We also we do video games and stuff. In fact, Wednesdays for now are what we have been calling kind of our couch co-op or our couch gaming. Because the space that we're at is at the other group of nerds' house, where we sit on their couch and play D&D. Play video games. My brain was skipping ahead, because we also stream live D&D. It has been a while. That's mostly because I haven't personally done any gaming streams, and the last time I was going to, you were unavailable, Mother. So I ended up streaming some Monster Hunter World, because when I have the time for it, I'm an addict for that game. Ooh, oh boy. Yeah, we've got some new technology in the house, and we're working on streaming a bit more. So yeah, Fridays we stream D&D. At some point, Bailey will pick up streaming gaming again. And also, I'm hoping Erica will as too. Oh, you're partnering with Time to Tabletop and others for a Knights Black Agents campaign. Oh, cool. But yeah, we have one of our artists also paints, draws. And she's streamed it in the past, so. But she was without a tablet for the longest time. But now she has one. And her preferred art program. Okay. So I'm not painting this edge because I think I'm going to do that in the metal that I'm going to put around there. But I do want to get this edge. I need to be very careful. I haven't heard of Time to Tabletop. Oh, some of that was too close. I think for this I'm also going to paint the top of this in this green. So the color scheme that I chose for this, for those of you who weren't here to hear my explanation of it, is more or less for the world that I've built, which would be they would work very hard to try to conceal the caravan itself. So I'm doing green on the top and brown on the sides, more or less to kind of help it camouflage and make it seem like it belongs in a forest. Because that's unfortunately where a lot of travel happens. But from an aerial point of view, all you would kind of see below is a green topped figure, which could be mistaken for a tree or a bush of some kind. So because I overthink everything I do. Well, almost everything. There's some things I don't think anything about before I do. Yeah, a guy from Washington State runs a solid community on Twitch and Discord. He also has incorporated gameplay and design into his regional school's curriculum. I like to hear that. That makes me happy to hear. I feel like it's possible I could have heard about him. I'm going to need to get a smaller brush because on the underside of this, there's a nice solid line of white, and I don't like it. Yeah, so Sundays I try to sit down and paint. It's just very nice and relaxing for me. And it gives me the time to work on some unpainted minis. But I do think that tabletop games in a school curriculum is very intelligent, because there's a lot that can be done with them. Ooh. I just had a dangerous thought. I need to be very careful about that. That dangerous thought was, oh, I could get under there with this brush. I think I'm going to go with one of my Kolinsky Sable brushes. Okay. That's what I'm actually going to use my palette for. Hey, Smunchy! How's it going? I hope your Sunday is going well. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh, this is... Oh god, this is a challenge. Whatever you're... This is a... it's a wagon. Because I've only ever used postcards. Or, note cards. So, it's about time that I fix that. And I'm actually thinking I do need to use my bigger brush. Ooh, that's still wet. How? Yes, I do actually plan on using this for tails. And actually in the coming month or two, why am I closing that? I still need you. In the coming months, I actually plan on ordering a few more minis from Hero Forge, because I've got some characters that I specifically need to paint. Okay, hold on. This is going to take a moment of concentration, and this to get out of my way. Oh, this is a pain. Okay. I'm going to be a little bit destructive to my old paint job, but that's because at this point I need it. Okay, so I painted over Oh, thank you. So I'm using ambientmixer.com, and the one I chose was a campfire, which I thought appropriate for me working on a caravan. Okay, so let's get this light back down here. So what I was struggling with, so this back end here, this is rounded. Well, running on the underside of basically this cylinder, there's this line, and I still didn't get all of it. Where I'm gonna have to come up with a different solution. I think I'm just gonna have to do that. Where there's just a line of white from the primer, and I was trying to avoid touching the original paint that I put there. which is the brown from in here. But there's no way I can do it. So I'm going to have to paint back over that section. But at least I've got the underside there. It's all the tiny nooks and crannies that make all the difference. Okay, I need to add a few more layers to this. And realistically, you know what? We're going to do one more layer overall, just to get this solid green. Because if you look closely, and I always do, there's variation in the color. So it almost, I want to say it almost looks cloudy, because you have patches of a brighter or darker color underneath of it. That is showing through. It's like, it might be really hard to see. I'll see if I can get this. But like right here, you can see where still some of that white from this is showing through. Even though it's very slight. Most people would not care, but I care. So more layers. But that is also because this paint was thinned down for an airbrush. So this is much thinner than it should be. Cool. Means that that camera is actually doing something. There's actually better than before. Multiple thin coats is usually the way you want to go about painting. Oh my god, that was very close to a big mistake. I need to slow down. But yeah. In some of the recessed areas, that's less important because that's going to get covered with a wash. But up here, the recessed areas are the part that I'm painting. Set that down real quick. Because it's this line, this spot here, this panel, this board, whatever you want to call it. I need to paint over. Alright, cool. So I do need that to dry some, but I can move on to the next color. So normally I will actually, the steps that I take in painting is I will paint all of the colors that I plan to do a wash over with the same tone. So, in this case it happens to be the entire mini I'm going to basically paint the same, or paint with this wash. So right here I have this tone called Agrax Earthshade. This is basically the brown wash that will go over this entire thing. And the only thing I still have to do on here is I have to paint some of these metal areas. Which actually I think some of those are going to be gold. So I'm going to be doing some layering ahead of time. And then like all of these down here, these are also going to be like a... Ooh, actually, those I might do with a black. You know what? I'll do this in several stages. So first I gotta let the top dry because that's still a little bit tacky. I don't want to jump the gun on that. Which means pretty much just need to wait out for a little bit. But yeah, so how is everyone doing tonight? Now that I got a little bit of time to kind of lean back and let my back not be in pain. Oh. You have a heating pad on your back? Nice. And I just cracked like 6 of my vertebrae. Oh. Threw it out last night sleeping? Oh, jeez. That sounds painful. Oh. I actually see a chiropractor every week because I work at a desk. You're sewing, honey's napping, and uncle's watching. Awesome. Ah, I'm so happy with this setup, but still a few more tweaks and we'll be good. That, and if I can move this camera, I can have it charged from my computer instead of the wall. Because I don't want it taking up another outlet, but whatever. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be a good year. Last year was nice, but this one will be nicer, right? Yeah, it'll be better. Okay. Still feels... Oh, right. I'm not 100% done. I really need to look into a chiropractor, although I think I did something to my sciatic nerve. Ooh. Yeah. I highly recommend chiropractors, if anything, because they help maintain your back as well, instead of just, a one-time fix. Very careful. Very, very careful. Be very, very quiet. Hunting rabbits. Oh, since I'm here. Where did it... Oh, there it is. I'm gonna fix that spot that I got green on. Very slight, because that was dry brushed on. Mine taught me a stretch to help my sciatic problem. Does help. Oh. Yeah, so, a while back, I think I used to... I can't remember the original day I was streaming. But whatever it was like the day... For a while, it was the day before I would paint. I think it was Thursdays that I used to paint. And then my chiropractor appointment would be on Wednesday. So I'd go to my chiropractor, they'd straighten my back out, and then I'd come here to stream painting and go right back to hunching over. Which is actually the reason I have this, because this is actually a magnifying glass that I can use to get close. And it actually helped pull me back from it. Because before, I'd be like inches away from it. Also made it easier for everyone to see while I'm streaming. Okay, so I think this is good enough. If I do have to reapply a wash over certain areas, I got this on Amazon. in my opinion, it was one of the best purchases I've made in a while. The ball joint on this, though, is going bad. So I have to... It takes a little bit more for me to adjust it now. So I might have to replace it. I don't know. Okay. I'm worried about using this brush, but I'm going to. This is my large shade brush. This is the largest brush I own for minis. Because for some of them, it is literally as big as them. Okay. So I'm going to need to replace the wet palette there. But we're half an hour away from the end of the stream. So we will see. Okay. So, I need to put more in this. So, now I'm adding this, which will add additional depth to the mini. Especially to all this wood grain. So before, I did a dry brush over it to lighten up the raised areas. And now I'm using a shade to darken the recessed areas. The bonus is that it will also kind of pull the colors of the base color, which is seen in the recesses, and the shaded color. It'll pull those closer together, so it'll be less noticeable to see. Okay, so I'm gonna speed up this top here. I'm gonna have to do this in parts, which I don't like doing, because sometimes you can see a visible seam. Don't like... It's not because if you stop in some areas, you'll see a line where one layer dried and another started, but when you catch them and they're still wet, you have the benefit that the paint evenly spreads. This stuff usually takes a while to dry, so, well, a while longer to dry. So, but you also don't want it to pool too much, because then it just looks terrible. So that's why I go back in here and I kind of try to spread it out some. But the wash will also kind of gather in seams and stuff. A wash is, another word for it is an ink. I've seen other places call it that. It is basically just a very wet, paint. So if you can actually see how fluid it is, as compared to like this layer paint, which actually is not very... I'm trying to get the right angle. Which is actually not very fluid. Like, I can still shake it and you can hear it. Maybe. But it's not the same. And it's designed to kind of fall into these lower regions. Viscous. Trying to be... Oh, this is... But there's also something chemically about it that's a little different. So I can't just water down one of these paints and turn it into a wash. But yeah, so like you can see the difference just within, and I'm trying to get the light to work. So you can see a difference just from this side, which up here is almost the same as this side. And this will dry more matte, assuming that I actually mix this enough. Ooh, and I applied too much there, so I need to soak it back up. In here. If I'm pulling this off camera, I apologize. Usually these larger minis, I'll be back a bit more than usual. I'm gonna have to go. There's some iron areas in here that I know I'll have to touch up. Ooh. Too much down there. So I'm only painting the bottom because I think it's important. So one side of this is already starting to dry a bit, and I'm liking the effect, and that's without me doing some of the trimmings, working on the windows. So it's already turning out pretty good in my eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna like this when it's done. And then as soon as those dry, I'll wash the wheels. But I didn't want to do those at the same time. The roof will probably get another layer of wash because I plan to, on these raised edges, paint... I plan to paint this on the lines and on each of these individual bolts. Because as you can see, there's bolts that run across this. And I plan on painting every single one of those. But yeah. Let's see if there's something I can sort of work on... Oh! So this is something... I posted this on Twitter, and it's probably very hard to see. Especially because I haven't primed it yet. But I plan to. What I needed to do, though, was I needed to get a new pin vise. So this is my pin vise. And so you can see there's kind of an aperture there that kind of opens and closes. Well, apparently I've pinched this too tight on my bits, and I've actually bent these so they won't hold my smallest bits. So I've got to get a new one, because this mini is one of my Gen Con loots. I'm actually going to move the light away, because the light is actually going to make this worse. Let's see if I can get this. It might not focus. Well, you say it's small, but it's actually about it's about the correct size. But this mini, the devil's in the details, because it actually has my face on it without my glasses. So I'm going to at some point I will prime this and get it working. But so that way you can actually see my face. It's hard for me to see just with my eye here. I'll see if I can get this in focus and kind of... Oh. We there yet? You're not in focus. Come on. Stop focusing on my hand. Or the table. This camera just does not want to agree with me right now. Hold on. Can I get you to autofocus on... No, I can't get you to autofocus on a point. Oh, almost. Almost. Come on. Oh. There we go. So yeah, it even has my ponytail back there. But yeah, it's got my beard. Yeah, so what they did is they sat me in a chair. I took my glasses off, because apparently glasses don't work very well with this. Which I'm glad, because I might be able to put my own on. And they scanned my head with a Xbox Kinect, and it translated it into a 3D... it came out... It turned it into a 3D model, and they had someone go in and they cleaned it up a little bit. Now, the reason why I'm waiting on this for the most part is that I actually plan on... Here, I'm going to zoom this back out. Nope, that's in. Is that I plan on... I need to put... I'm drilling a hole in the leg here. And now the light is too bright for you to really be able to see it. So, but I plan on putting a hole in the leg here, kind of going up a bit, and then sticking a pin in there, which will then allow me to mount just this leg. Here, I'm going to move this way. Just to mount this leg to the base. And I actually plan on taking some of my foam there and making like a small cliff and make it look like I'm about to walk off a cliff, because I think that's funny. So yeah, I plan on having fun. This is going to be one of my display pieces. I'm not really going to use this for a game. And if I'm feeling really ambitious, I might try putting glasses on him. I might. It might not work out, because that is very tiny. Yeah, I forgot I had him. He's just sitting on my desk here. He's sitting on my desk, waiting for me to get my pin vise. The glasses would be awesome. It just requires me to have better... I need more experience with sculpting, because I essentially have to make it out of different materials. And they are very tiny. They would be very tiny and very fragile. So, we'll see. I might not. So, let's see. How is this... Okay, there's one spot I'm a little bit upset about. Right here. Some paint bunched up. Same within there. But for the most part, this is looking... it's still wet up there, but... it's more or less in the window, and I'm less concerned about that. Okay, so, last bits, I'm gonna shade the wheels.
Hey, Jake.
Yes, dear?
What are the odds what are the odds of me commissioning you to paint some of my minis for me for the D&D Monopoly game?
There's a possibility. Depends on how soon you need them.
I don't need them soon. I'm not very far in the cross-stitching part, but I know how fast you can knock those out.
Depends on the level of detail that I'm adding.
Well, yeah.
Because if I'm adding a lot of detail, then no, they won't be quick.
Yeah, no, but they just need painted, and you're much faster and better at it than me.
I could probably do that for you.
That looks really nice.
Thank you. It's going to look a whole hell of a lot nicer when I'm actually done with it.
Yeah.
3 hours in, and I've got the base coat, the layer for the wood, and the wash for the wood. And that's it.
It's a big piece.
Yeah, basing this was a lot of work. Because there's a lot of tiny little nooks and crannies. Okay. Ah, crap.
Oh, my knee hurts real bad. Do you need a third arm?
No. I need a way to set this down and... There, good enough. I needed to not be sitting on the wheels while the wheels are drying.
I see.
Alright. Probably won't have too much more time tonight to work on this. So I will just push this aside for now. And, oh, I haven't worked on him at all. I have a mini that I was working on before. This big metal guy. Which actually I could probably zoom in for him, because... So I was making him out of a very specific type of, metal. But... I'm not entirely done with him. But I gotta remember what I'm gonna do. Because I don't want to call him done, because he looks... Oh. I think I know what I'm gonna do. So for about the next 15 minutes or so, I am going to work on detailing out this guy. And this is going to be intense. Oh, Jesus. Come on. Stop being... I might have to get a new pot of this. These metals don't like mixing as well. God, why are you so liquidy? I don't actually have tent minis, but I could probably make them. I tend to not like making my minis as much, Yeah, that is just not mixing up, and I am not happy with that. Hold on, let's see if... No. Something about this paint got completely messed up. Yeah. That's not flowing right, that's not mixing right, that is just dead. That is the question I ask everyone, why are you so liquidy? Well, for me, I could say I just drink a lot of fluids. This is an, I want to say it's an iron golem. I think that's what it was. I changed it up a little bit because there's a metal in my world that I really wanted him to be, and my players absolutely, I know they don't like it. Because I made a metal called Magebane Steel that basically negates the powers of spellcasters. And so I decided, what if I made a golem out of it? Because I'm a sadistic bastard. Yeah, I've already used Magebane arrows against them. Which was funny because Ranger basically stood there and waited to see what everyone was doing, and then when he determined who was the most powerful spellcaster, he shot him with a Magebane arrow. So it did some damage, and then it was like, oh, now you can't cast spells. At least until you pull it out. Okay. So, because most of him is this metal, really, I need to break up... Oh, I need to not stick that in there like that. It's bad for the brush. What I need to do is I need to break up the different plates and make them more distinct, because right now, with the base color and the wash that's over it, it's just kind of one amalgamous piece of material. And yeah, you can see the lines from the mini, but I want to make them stand out. So I'm going to edge highlight it. So that way you can see things like the bolts and the edge of the plate. And it's a very subtle change. It's a little bit hard to see. Yeah, it's edge highlighting is a technique that, in my opinion, is one of the most important to learn to step up your mini game. So when I do one plate, it doesn't really do a whole lot, but what I'll do, I'll edge highlight this whole leg, and then you can see the comparison to the other leg. Hold on, I gotta flip this around. But we'll see how much of this I can actually get done, because this is usually a time-consuming process. So yeah, during these times I'm usually a bit more quiet, and I apologize, but it's largely because I'm sitting here and concentrating and not to more or less not fuck up. Alright. So, this we just want... Sometimes I'll even hold my breath to stabilize my hand. Now this part isn't a seam, but it is an edge. This one I'm not going to paint the whole edge to make it, just to make it look like it is actually one continuous piece. So I'll paint probably like 80% of the edge. And I'm using one of my smallest brushes for this. You can kind of see the size. And here's a medium layer brush. And just, again, my pinky for reference. Oh, there is another seam down there. There might be some parts in this that I'll paint. I'll end up repainting. So like in his neck and stuff, a lot of that is probably better not with this kind of bluish silver. That I might run. I might put some silver paint in there. Or I might edge highlight some of those, and then I'll put a black wash in there and just kind of separate it from the rest of it. And I might run a black wash through some of the deeper areas just to kind of give a sense of depth. He's got so many bolts on his leg. Just being ever so gentle. So I'm mostly going to paint the front-facing stuff so there's an easy comparison. And it'll give me an idea of if I want to continue doing this or if I want to go about it in a different way. Ooh, So this is an area where the actual Mini lacks some details. Because I know for a fact, based on this side, there should be more bolts here. But in the manufacturing process, it didn't come out as well. So I'm not going to put anything there because otherwise it'll draw too much attention to itself. And I ultimately want to avoid that. This foot's going to be a little bit harder to tell the difference. I need to clean this brush off real quick. Okay. I'm going to put edge highlight around this cut too. Because that'll make that detail in the Mini pop. I can see some spots where I kind of missed some of that blue, but that's going to have to be a oh well moment. What the fuck was that? Oh, a few notifications. Oh, this is going to be tough just from my hand positioning. Alright. Nope, not yet. For a moment I wasn't sure if I was painting the correct side of the Mini. Ooh, this is where a mold line is, but it happens to line up in just the right space, so I'm not too annoyed with it. Okay. So because this is a crease that kind of goes deeper, I'm actually going to be starting at the edges and leaving a space in the center that isn't painted. Because the light's more likely to hit these than the center. Alright, so, I'm going to call that here. One, it happens to be exactly 10 o'clock for me, which is when I was desiring to end. So, give you guys a closer look. Nope. It is a little bit... It's a little bit difficult to see in this upper leg because there are areas that the blue didn't really show up in. But that's just with an edge highlighting. You can kind of see in some of the plates where it makes a difference. This plate definitely here. And then eventually I'll go in to some of these much deeper areas, and that's where I'll put a little bit of that black wash in. And it'll give it a little bit more dimension. Some of these back areas, like behind the knee, I'll put some there, behind the foot here. So really like in some of the joints. Because I want certain pieces to pop out that are going to draw your attention more than the rest of it. But the edge highlighting gives you an idea of like where the edges are. And I largely did, and actually this wasn't now that I realize this wasn't a wash. This was a glaze, which is a little bit different in largely its finished product. So in this case, these are a little bit lighter, and I had actually used this wash on him to get I was trying to get like an oily blue metal, which I feel like I did pretty well. But this edge highlighting is really going to come out well on his face. So, but yeah, so that's where I'm going to call it for tonight. I am really glad everyone showed up. And yeah, hope to catch you guys around again soon. I'm hopefully going to do this next Sunday as well. So, see y'all later.